What's up, dude? Welcome back to 50 States, 50 Plates, where I'll be cooking a famous dish from every state in America. Today, I have the absolute privilege and pleasure to be making a stop in the culinary mecca of a state that is Louisiana. In all honesty, this was a really hard state to choose just one dish from. However, after much debate, I have landed on a dish that I feel really encapsulates the great state of Louisiana, and that is a traditional chicken and sausage gumbo. And as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! Like many amazing dinners, my gumbo is gonna start with a whole roasted chicken. However, fear not, I will give you a quicker method at the end of this explanation. I just took a whole chicken, dried it off really well, hit it with a little bit of neutral oil, and then just dusted it heavily with salt all over as well as in the cavity. I also had some thyme in my fridge I needed to use up, so I stuffed that inside the cavity as well. Then simply just roast off at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 55 minutes or until the chicken hits 155 Fahrenheit internal. At this point, you wanna let it rest for 30, 40 minutes or until it's cool enough to handle. I'll start by breaking up the chicken, removing the skin first and putting that into a large pot. Simply just strip all the meat off of the chicken. Follow this process with every piece of the chicken, being careful to get all that meat away. On another note, the back of the chicken always has some incredible bits like these oysters here. And I always take a minute or two to go through this section and strip off all that good meat. Now simply throw all your bones and scraps into the pot along with the skin, and do not wash that tray yet. Just take some boiling water, pour it on the tray, scrape it up with a spatula, and dump that into the pot as well. There is so much flavor in the form of fond still on that sheet pan, and you don't want to waste it. All I did was simmer my stock for an hour and a half, and there you go, you have homemade chicken stock along with the chicken meat ready for the gumbo. If you want a quicker version, just roast off some thighs in the oven and just use some store-bought chicken bouillon. There's no shame in that. Doing it this way, you can literally be done in 30, 40 minutes. Moving on, we're gonna be making some dark Cajun Roux. Start by bringing a pot up to medium heat, and for these Cajun Roux, you don't want to use butter. That is not the legit way to do it, although I guess you could. Oil is what they would use. If you're from New Orleans, you say oil or oil. Then simply just dump in some all-purpose flour and take the time here to mix it in. You could use a whisk, but if you use a spatula, it's all about this. See this smashing motion? Smash and spread, friends. Smash and spread. With this roux, you don't have to stand here the entire time and just mix it constantly, but you do want to mix it every couple minutes, so don't leave it alone. And after 30 minutes at medium heat, stirring occasionally, you're gonna have this dark brown roux. And this is absolutely the base for any good gumbo. None of these light brown golden roux, that is not where it's at. I've even seen some Cajun recipes where they literally blacken the roux. But for this one, a dark brown effect is best. We just need to prep some vegetables. You can even do this while the roux is cooking. Just make sure you get in there and stir it every 2 minutes. The way I see it, there are two ways you can prep this vegetable. First way, take off the top, flip it over, take off the bottom, make a slice, put it on its side, and unroll it as you slice off the membrane, like so. Then you're left with this. From here, I'm gonna slice it in half into strips this way, and then into some nice little cubes. Works great, but the one thing I don't like about this method is that you're left with these. Not the end of the world, as you can always just dice it up, but it is a little bit annoying. The other method is to start from the top like so, and follow the vegetable all the way down. That way you're getting the natural shape of the bell pepper. This is how a 2 Michelin star chef taught me how to do it anyway. And as you can see, you're not left with that top or bottom part, just very little of it. From here, you would then just do the same thing. And what's nice about that is you really get the shape of the veggie. Next, celery, which you know I hate, but it belongs here. And I like to peel my celery. I don't like those fibers. I'm not trying to floss. To each their own, but I always peel it. From here, slice and chop. Next up, some yellow onions or sweet onions, which I have here. I always leave the root end on when dicing. Take off that little tail. And same deal, we're just gonna apply a medium dice, like so. Donezo. And what we've just made here, my friends, is a holy trinity, which is basically the mirepoix of Cajun cooking. It's celery, bell pepper, and onion. And now I'm just dividing everything in half, because half is for the gumbo, and the other half is for potato salad, because if you think I'm making gumbo and I'm not making potato salad, you got another thing coming, bro. I actually cooked the roux for just another 10 minutes for around 40 minutes total. Now, before our roux burns, check it out. Here's the trick. Your vegetables straight into the roux. You're gonna sweat the veggies in the roux. And at the same time, those veggies are stopping any progression of the roux cooking further. Woo! Man, I'm just keeping the heat right around medium, and I'm gonna continue sweating these vegetables down. And at this point too, I like to add a little bit of salt just to help with that process. Get yourself some gumbo. Get yourself some, oh shit. After 8 minutes, the vegetables are a little bit translucent. I'm adding in the garlic, and I just smashed and sliced it up. Now I just need to choose my Cajun seasoning. I've got some Tony Chachere's. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Or some Slap Ya Mama. Let's taste. Tony's. And a little Slap Ya Mama. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They're, oh, They're pretty similar. The Slap Your Mama is a little bit spicier. So you know what? I'm doing a teaspoon of each, going straight in. Keeping that heat low now at this point. I don't want anything to burn. Garlic's been in for 2 minutes. Some Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty, my little fuzzy friend. That's just black pepper. I happen to be a big fan of black pepper. And the last thing I'm gonna do, take a jalapeno, and I'm just gonna cut a slit into it like this. But leave it whole. Little flavor bomb of spice in there. Why not? Turning the heat back up to like medium high now, and I'm gonna start adding in my chicken stock. Just little by little. I'll do about 2 ladles at a time. And I always think the trick to these kind of sauces that start with roux is to add the liquid little by little and really work it in. Once it seizes up like that, add more. And I'm actually right now adding cold chicken stock to hot roux. People say there's all these rules about roux. Only add cold stock to hot roux or cold roux to hot stock. Honestly, I've tried it a lot of different ways and it always seems to work out. So take that for what it's worth. Keep adding your stock 2 ladles at a time until it's all completely worked in like this. And hit it with a little bit of that Louisiana hot sauce, more or less depending on how spicy you like it. When you're making dishes like this, you want to kind of season as you go, but always go a little under so in the end you can take it up to where you want it to be. Time to work with the sausage. It's andouille. Andouille. And if you can't find andouille sausage, just use another kind of smoked sausage that you like. And all I'm gonna do is simply slice them into rings, something like this. Also, if you feel like it, you could take off the casing here, which is a little bit tedious. I honestly don't really care, and I like the way it looks with it on, so I'm gonna leave it. I suppose if you want, you could sear off the sausage for a little extra depth of flavor. However, it's not necessary. Look, this already has so much flavor. It's a lot of sausage, but this is sausage and chicken gumbo. And as this cooks, that sausage is gonna release a whole lot of smoky flavor into the gumbo. Sausage is a little lonely, needs a friend. All my picked chicken meat going in. I debated throwing this in last minute because it's so perfectly cooked. It's not in the spirit of gumbo to do so. I feel like this needs to cook for a while. I'm gonna go ahead and mix all that in, and then all I'm gonna do is bring this to a light simmer and let it cook until it thickens back up a little bit and all those flavors have really released, which should take 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Honestly, you could cook it longer than that if you want to. Keep an eye on it and stir it from time to time. And while this cooks, we can make our creamy, delicious Southern style potato salad to serve with the gumbo. And for this potato salad, I'm starting with little gold potatoes. You can definitely use big Yukon Golds if you find them. And I'll simply just quarter these. Do something cool. Ooh! Like so, and just drop them into a pot of cold water. And when working with potatoes, I like to discard this first batch of water. As you can see, it's got pretty cloudy from all that starch. And there we go, fresh water. And you don't want to put too much water, just cover the potatoes. Go ahead and salt up the water a little bit right now. And we'll set these things over high heat and let them cook. My potatoes have been going for about 27 minutes at this point. I'm just gonna poke it with a little thermometer. And honestly, I would rather my potatoes be slightly overcooked than slightly undercooked when it comes to potato salad. Just my personal preference. At this point, we can just go ahead and strain them off. And I'm gonna throw them on a tray just so they'll cool down a little bit faster. I wanna get these all the way down to room temp. Woo! As we're going pretty traditional with this gumbo, we're actually gonna be serving it with some hard-boiled eggs. If you live in New Orleans, you know that this is a traditional way to serve gumbo. Not that you need it, but it certainly doesn't hurt. I'm gonna lower 10 eggs into some simmering water. You don't want it violently boiling, but you don't want it dead either, so it should be slightly simmering. And I'm gonna start an 11-minute timer. On another note, eggs are definitely easier peeled when they're older, apparently. Before, I used to think it was fresh eggs that would peel easier, but in fact, it's older eggs. When your time has elapsed, carefully get your eggs straight out into some ice water, thus stopping the cooking. I leave them in there for about 8 to 10 minutes. At this point, I like to just crack them all the way around, gently, little roll. And whenever you're peeling eggs, there's a little membrane, right? Get under the membrane first. Out she comes. I'll just give it a little rinse to get off any remaining shell, and let's have a look. This is kind of how I wanted it. I call it the almost boiled egg. 11 minutes instead of 12 minutes. Looks nice to me. Oh, and what I'm gonna do is take half of my eggs, so 5, and I'm just gonna rough chop them. I wanna try this thing I saw on TikTok, dude. It's a way to cut the egg in half without smudging the yolk on your knife. Let's see if this works. Was it this way? Put the egg down. Put the tip of your knife in. You push away. It's gonna go all the way around the egg, in half, perfectly clean. Whoa. There we go, something about like that. For the potato salad dressing, I'm starting with mayonnaise, some Creole mustard, but you can use whatever kind of mustard you have, no worries. A little bit of yellow mustard, some Louisiana hot sauce, a little bit of sweet pickle relish, apple cider vinegar and sugar. I'm gonna tip the sugar into the apple cider vinegar, and the sugar will dissolve pretty much instantly. Straight in, salt. A little bit more Cajun seasoning, and some pepper. I'm gonna give that all a really good mix. Yes, yes. Potatoes in, and we mix. And as I'm mixing here, I'm just gonna smash a little bit. I'm dropping in the eggs. I'm just feeling instinctual about this. I wanna get in with a hand. Oh. Yeah, it's because I wanna smash the potato a little bit to give it a little bit of that mashed potato type texture. So we have some pieces, we have some mush. Sometimes you gotta follow your gut when you're cooking, you know? My gut said, Sonny, you stick your fucking hand in there right now. And I did. Marcus, come over here for a second. I just want to see how strong your handshake is. Ew, gross. This is really stupid, but I almost forgot all the vegetables. In they go, more holy trinity, green bell pepper, celery, onion. Again, really good mix. And there we go, homies. Back into the fridge. There we go, my friends. 2.5 hours of simmering with our gumbo. I'm gonna take out that jalapeno, and it's looking insane. We tasted it. It is really, really good. Oh, the sausage has released its flavor. I'm gonna drop in these hard-boiled eggs right now just to warm up in here. All we need to do now is plate this up with some white rice, potato salad on the side with some spring onions, a little bit of hot sauce, and more Cajun seasoning. Double spoon flip, and here we go. Oh, I spent 1.5 years working for a really good chef from New Orleans, and I love Haitian Creole cooking. Let's go. I don't know what to say. It's one of those things you just want to be quiet, really, truly. Potato salad, let's go. Yo, the potato salad is fire. That smoky flavor from the sausage now in the gumbo. It's the perfect gravy-like texture. The chicken is falling apart, but still has a little texture. Everything is working in union. Synergy is happening. Bro, 11 out of 10. Wow. Wow. Some of the products I used in this video are linked below in the description as well as the recipe. On another note, we have merch available now as well. If you want to check out Arkansas's fish fry, that's where we were on our last date. And if you're watching at the right time, Mississippi is right here. Until next time, my friends, you know I love you.